What if Anakin Skywalker went back in time to Revan Sith Empire? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Anakin stares at the ancient temple before him, unsure why he came here, and how he even found it. He felt the Force itself pull him here. After weeks of spying on Palpatine, Palpatine is grateful for the break from all the politics and nightmares. He studies the mosaic on the wall, his fingers brushing off the icons of the father, son, and daughter. This touch is enough to activate the powers beneath. His eyes widen as the images begin to move, and a passageway opens up. Taking a deep breath, Anakin wanders inside. But as he ventures inside, the sight that greets him is nothing that he's ever seen. It is an entire world of space and doorways, with spectral roadways that lead to each portal. There have to be thousands of them. He sees the images inside and the strange tales they must tell. There's one of him as a Mandalorian, one where he learns to take away the powers of the Force, and one where he appears to be in hell. These are just a few among the thousands here, but one portal seems to pull him more than others. Before he realizes it, Anakin steps through and looks beyond. As he walks through, images fill his mind of an ancient Jedi wearing the armor and mask of a Mandalorian. Anakin barely has time to react as the darkness shifts and reveals a world torn by war. The ground shakes with the rumble of battle, while turbo lasers light up the night sky, smaller fighters zipping through the air. He sees soldiers scrambling to and fro, trying to fuel their fighters or gather weapons, mounting a desperate defense. Though their uniforms are quite different, he recognizes the sigil of the Republic on their uniforms. Above them, a massive warship looms large, crushing whatever resistance they have to offer. But there are also sounds, a deep voice that echoes from the ship, proclaiming the creation of a Sith Empire. Anakin's mind races. He's heard of this. The Battle of Theorist, where the Sith Empire declared its return by seizing the Republic's largest shipyard. But he's not reading it in a Jedi archive now. He's living it. Before he can process his surroundings, a squad of Sith troopers rushes toward him, their crimson armor reflecting the fiery glow of distant explosions. Anakin doesn't hesitate. His lightsaber ignites with a snap hiss. He deflects their blaster bolts and cuts through the enemy soldiers. But it is no use, as they are just the opening salvo. Soon the sky is filled with dropships that deploy fresh troops. Atop one of these crafts, a pair of figures descends, flanked by Sith acolytes. One is a bald human with tattooed stripes running across his head, and the other, Anakin freezes at the sight of that Mandalorian armor. The legend himself, the being who brought the galaxy to its knees, Darth Revan.
A Jedi? I thought they had already wiped them out. What is your name?
Anakin Skywalker. Never heard of him. Must be a Padawan. Finish him off and let us get moving.
Hold a moment, apprentice. I want to see this.
The dark acolytes both ignite their red lightsabers in unison, their twin blades crackling with lethal intent. Anakin tightens his grip on his saber. He doesn't speak as they advance on him. As the first acolyte charges, he feigns high and kicks him in the stomach just in time to block the second one's swing. They lock blades until Anakin thrusts his hand out and throws him back with the Force. As the first recovers, Anakin's lightsaber is ready and meets them several times. But each time their weapons clash, Anakin feels his confidence growing. Compared to the likes of Ventress, these aren't nearly as frightening. By the fifth time their swords meet, he twists and lets her momentum carry her, and beheads her with a follow-up swing. The second one puts up more of a fight, grazing his shoulder, but Anakin manages to rush in close, grab him by the throat, and run him through. Before Anakin can catch his breath, he hears the sound of applause from Revan, who chuckles.
You're bold to fight alone, but skilled. So perhaps it isn't recklessness, but bravery.
Still, he's just another Jedi fool. Let's finish him off.
No, there's something different about him. His power in the Force is extraordinary. You didn't come here by accident, did you?
Anakin doesn't respond, but Revan simply shrugs and motions for the guards to escort him away. Malik bristles, but doesn't argue. The troopers close in, binding Anakin's wrists with energy cuffs. He doesn't resist, though his mind races. But instead of taking him to the brig with the other captives, he's placed in a crew compartment, no different than the other crew members. As the ship takes off, Anakin receives no visitors, save for Revan himself, who continues to ask him questions. Which Jedi he served under, how long he was stationed there, and which battles he fought in. However, if Anakin could answer these questions, he refused, and simply gives evasive answers. If it frustrates the Sith Lord, he does not indicate it. The only clues he gives are slight tips to his helmet. This goes on for several days, until Revan simply asks,
"What do you think of the Republic? Of the Jedi Order?"
What?
Well, if you're not interested in answering my other questions, surely this seems like something harmless enough. Do you still believe in the Jedi? In the Republic?
He smiles underneath his helmet, sensing the doubt in the young Jedi.
I have my doubts about the Jedi. I think they are good and compassionate.
But
sometimes I think they spend more time saving the Senate than the people or the Force. That's not what I signed up for.
I agree. I would like to change that. I want to remake the galaxy into something better. I could use help. Would you like to join me?
Anakin is surprised at how openly he says that. There are no manipulations, no lies, or offers of power. Simply a request from one man to another. It is an honesty that takes Anakin off guard. Over the past few days, he's observed Revan, feeling the energies flow through him. In some ways, it reminds him of Palpatine, but also more palatable, more charismatic. At times, Palpatine feels too complex and impossible to discern what he truly is. But Revan's presence is simple, enticing, and honest. He does not hide what he wants.
And how would you change things?
As you said, the Jedi focus too much on serving the whims of the Senate rather than the people. Then let us try with the Sith. Instead, we shall let the people rule. But we must first tear down the obstacles that block our path. The Senate and the Jedi, those who will join us shall be spared. The rest shall be corrected.
Despite the cruel words, Anakin finds himself drawn. In many ways, he thinks the same thing and has considered the same. But Revan is simply willing to do it. Before he fully realizes what he's doing, Anakin nods his head and offers out his hand. To everyone's surprise, Revan decides to make Anakin a general of his army. While Malik protests, saying that they know nothing about him, the Sith Lord is adamant, and Anakin is given an army of Sith troopers, and even dark acolytes. Despite all the chaos happening around him, the war proves to be a surprising relief for him. Battles and fighting are things Anakin understands. He throws himself into the war, leading his troops into battle with the same bravery and creativity he does leading the 501st. Anakin reminds himself that this was set in stone, and the histories show the Jedi and Republic making many foolish decisions that led up to this war. However, the greatest influence on him is Revan himself. Even with his dark powers, he remains charismatic and strangely approachable. Revan is never far away from the battle, personally leading troops and listening to their issues, a style of command Anakin is not used to. However, Anakin still tries to restrain himself, avoiding unnecessary casualties and not indulging in the dark side as eagerly as some of his acolytes. On more than one occasion, he even executes some of his soldiers for being too indulgent in the dark side, something Revan approves of. True to his word, Revan largely leaves the worlds he captures untouched. While he might install a garrison or replace the governor, he allows them to govern as they always do with few conditions. Revan explains that, in truth, most people in the galaxy do not care who rules them, Republic, Sith, or Jedi. As long as they can live their lives in peace, they will accept any ruler. Anakin follows this example, trying to spare worlds and cause as little destruction as possible in his conquests. This wins him the respect of many of their new subjects and officers, including Revan, who begins to train with Anakin more and more, leading some to believe that he may become Revan's next apprentice. But none of this wins him any love from Malik, who continues to distrust him and regard him with disdain. He considers Anakin little more than an up-jumped opportunist. But this anger also reflects on Revan as Anakin sees their relationship grow more stormy. One point of contention that sticks out is the use of the Starforge. Malik insists on using it for its full potential, but Revan knows of its corrupting influence and refuses to use it any more than necessary. Even as the war goes well, he grows angrier and angrier until he challenges Revan directly, a foolish decision that costs Malik his jaw. But one thorn that remains in Revan's side is Bastila Shan, a Jedi Knight who harries the Sith Empire and is the Republic's greatest general. While the rest of the Republic falls around them, she continues to fight ferociously, keeping Revan's forces at bay. The Dark Lord recognizes this threat and gathers his forces, using every scrap of intelligence he can muster to track her fleet to the edge of the Outer Rim. The Republic forces fight valiantly, but Revan ensures he has an advantage in numbers and equipment. Soon after, Bastila's ship is disabled, allowing Revan to board alongside his elite troops. Anakin, meanwhile, continues to spearhead the attack on the remainder of the fleet. Revan cuts his way through the corridors, making his way over to the bridge just as Bastila rushes at him, lightsaber ready. Their duel ignites in a furious storm of strikes and counters. As her ship burns around them, the two continue to fight, oblivious to the destruction. The ship shudders under the strain of the battle outside. Suddenly, the Ebon Hawk's comms crackle to life.
Revan, you've grown weak, but don't worry. I'll let you go down with your ship.
From the viewport, Malik's ship is repositioning and then fires at the two ships still locked together. Explosions ripple through them, tearing through its bulkheads. The two pull away, their duel halted by the explosions. Revan snarls and prepares to leave just as an explosion tears through the hull and tosses the Dark Lord back. He slams against the hull as Bastila tries to run out. She hesitates, though, and glances back. Cursing to herself, she grabs Revan and guides him through the halls. The two stumble through the ship, watching it burst into flames around them. The escape pods are either shot down or jettisoned out, but they see one smaller ship approaching. Anakin's own ship weaves through the turbolaser fire and docks in an airlock. The door opens just as the ship reaches critical condition. Anakin helps the pair aboard and detaches just as Revan and Bastila's ship go out in a twin set of explosions. The ship quickly enters hyperspace before Malik realizes what's happening. Revan wakes to the sterile hum of machinery. His head throbs and he finds himself restrained on an examination table. The familiar weight of his mask is gone, his face bare for the first time in years. Around him, medical droids hum softly as they monitor his vitals. The realization hits him like a physical blow. Revan tries to move, but the binders holding him crackle with energy. His mind sharpens. Where is Anakin? Where is Bastila? And what of Malik? The answer comes in muffled voices beyond the chamber walls. The Council debates. In a grand chamber aboard the Republic flagship, Bastila Shan stands before the Jedi Council. Holograms of the Masters flicker above the dais. Beside her is Anakin Skywalker.
Revan is too dangerous to be left as he is. He must be dealt with.
We have the means. If we erase his memory, strip him of the dark influence that has corrupted him, we might redeem him. Use him against Malik.
This war has cost countless lives. Revan brought this upon himself.
I see the Council has changed little over the years. You talk about the Jedi Code, but you're just as hypocritical as ever. You preach redemption, compassion, yet you're ready to rip his mind apart without hesitation when it benefits you.
Revan is a Sith. Do not forget the countless atrocities committed under his leadership. You would defend him.
Still, this solution is extreme. If there is another idea, I would like to hear it.
He might listen to me. Let me talk to him and convince him to work with you. He deserves that much.
The council stares at him with uncertainty. Anakin was unusual, and the reports of him trying to save Revan and Bastila came as a surprise. But multiple witnesses confirmed it.
Convince him quickly, then. We might not have much time.
The rest of the council turns somber at that. They all recently received reports from the front lines that paint a grim picture. Rather than slowing down, Darth Malik's forces only sped up their attack. He's now targeting more systems with increasing brutality. Instead of just capturing them, he forces them to submit, installing governments and virtually enslaving the population. Even Revan would never approve of such tactics. A few minutes later, Anakin appears before Revan's cell.
I expected Bastila, not you. The council wanted to wipe your mind, and turn you into some puppet to fight Malik.
And yet I'm still whole.
Why? Let's just say I don't have much patience for Jedi hypocrisy. If we're going to do it, I'd do it my way.
You're not like the other Jedi I've known, or Sith. Most of my acolytes would have just abandoned me to my fate.
You're not the first person to tell me that. But we're still in dangerous waters.
And what do you want in return? My cooperation? My repentance?
I want you to decide for yourself. You don't strike me as the kind of man who likes being manipulated. By the Sith, the Jedi, or anyone else. But we must stop Malik. He's changing the war effort. Things are taking a turn for the worse, and we're their only chance to stop him.
Malik betrayed me. Fired on me without hesitation. That fool. You're right. I'm no one's pawn. But I will help.
With Revan and Anakin by their side, they agree to divide their forces. Anakin will take the bulk of Revan's loyalists to attack Malik's forces and create a distraction, while Revan and Bastila move to destroy Malik's power, the Starforge. Anakin stands on the bridge of a commandeered Sith cruiser, his eyes fixed on the growing enemy fleet. Even with the Republic reinforcements, he knows that this battle will be hard fought. He turns to his crew, a mix of Sith defectors, Republic officers, and soldiers loyal to Revan, scrambling to execute his commands.
Sir, this is madness. The enemy fleet outnumbers us 3-1.
The moment the order is given, Anakin's fleet surges forward, blaster fire lighting up the void. Sith interceptors swarm toward the Republic cruisers, only to be met by swarms of Republic fighters and Anakin himself leading the fighter attack, weaving through enemy cruisers with piloting skills that are too skilled even for the pilots of this age. Capital ships trade devastating volleys of turbolaser fire, while starfighters spiral and slip through enemy lines and try to disable larger ships. Meanwhile, Anakin cuts his way right through the enemy flagship and leaps out. The few Sith troopers who see him are quickly cut down, but as he approaches the halls, one of the doors opens, and a lone figure steps forward. Darth Bandon, Malik's loyal apprentice.
Skywalker, you've overstayed your welcome.
And here I thought I was finally making friends.
Bandon lunges forward, his attacks ferocious, but Anakin parries his attacks, turning the hangar into a shower of sparks and explosions. He stops Bandon's attacks and twists aside, countering with a jab at his face. Bandon twists his head and snarls, raining a flurry of powerful strikes. Anakin must leap back to avoid them, letting the Sith Lord advance on him. He can feel the rage emanating from him and grips his weapon with both hands. He parries the next few attacks and comes low, striking at his stomach. His lightsaber slices through his armor and causes Bandon to roar. The dark energy ripples from his body, and he begins to shove him back. The urge to dig into that power and to throw it back is immeasurable. But then he recalls what he saw with Malik and how that power consumes someone. Instead, Anakin digs his heels in and continues to step forward, trying to advance. Bandon notices this and swings his lightsaber down, but Anakin notices that, and his weapon comes up to block the attack. Blinking, the Sith Lord roars and tries to kick him, but Anakin catches his foot again and yanks him aside. The attack dissipates the dark energy and allows Anakin to rush forward again. Bandon desperately tries to defend himself against these attacks, but now Anakin has the advantage as Bandon tries to leap back and avoid the attack. He feels his back connect against the metal walls of the hangar. Anakin presses his elbow against his throat.
You fight well for a Jedi, but you're out of your depth.
I've fought worse.
With his last bit of strength, Bandon unleashes a torrent of dark side energy, hurling crates and debris across the hangar bay. Anakin deflects most of it, but a heavy piece clips his arm, drawing blood. Bandon moves in for the kill, a cruel grin on his face. Anakin drives his lightsaber into his chest, pinning him off the ground. Bandon stares in shock as the light fades from his eyes, collapsing to the ground once Anakin deactivates his lightsaber.
Like I said, you've got nothing on me.
Meanwhile, Revan and Bastila infiltrate the Starforge as their fleet battles with the Defense Force, now weakened as most ships were left to battle Anakin. The massive factory hums with dark energy, its walls alive with the mechanical creation of endless warships and droids. Revan pauses for a moment, feeling the overwhelming presence of the dark side.
It's alive.
This is why I refuse to let it consume us. This thing is a parasite. It will corrupt anyone who lets it.
Their progress is swift as they cut through droid patrols and security defenses. There don't seem to be many Force users beyond a few fallen Jedi, but these are easy prey to them. As they approach a central control chamber, they find Darth Malik standing before the Starforge's controls, bathed in the ominous glow of its power.
I knew you'd come. You couldn't resist the pull of the Starforge, could you? This ends here, Malik. You still don't understand, Revan. You taught me to seize power, to take what is mine. The Starforge has made me unstoppable.
You're a fool, Malik. This power will destroy you, and you will take the entire galaxy with you.
Malik sneers, raising his hands. The dark energy of the Starforge swirls around him as he rushes forward. When their lightsabers clash, the power is overwhelming, shaking the room and halting even Revan's attacks. Bastila tries to sneak underneath them, but Malik grabs her and throws her aside. He then begins to swing at Revan, his attacks growing stronger and powerful with each move. Revan tries to push it aside and stab at his neck, but Malik anticipates this and throws him back with force lightning. Still feeling the energies flickering around him, Revan comes at him, and Bastila comes from the side. Their attacks forcing Malik to defend from both sides, but this doesn't seem to slow him as he continues at them, his power letting him split his defenses as the dark side itself comes to his defense, lashing out at them. He concentrates most of this on Bastila, who is faster and dodges through all his attacks. As his lightsaber rains down on him, he dodges, sliding and ducking underneath each attack, much to his frustration. Snarling, Malik unleashes a concentrated blast of dark side energy, sending her crashing to the ground. Revan lunges toward her, deflecting another blast and dissipating it, but it sends him back step by step. Bastila rises, but her eyes flicker, twisting in pain as she struggles to battle the dark side within her.
You were born to wield power. Stop holding yourself back and take it. No, fight it, Bastila.
Bastila's breathing becomes ragged, thrashing on the ground as the dark aura wraps around her and squeezes her heart. When she opens her eyes, they are a sickly yellow. Her lightsaber ignites and rushes at Revan. Revan blocks her attack and Malik lunges at him, swinging his lightsaber in a wide arc. He tries to leap back and avoid them as they try to surround him. Malik laughs as Revan tries to defend against the two of them. Revan barely parries Bastila's first attack before being forced onto the defensive, caught between her strikes and Malik's overwhelming power. Malik laughs as his enemy falters. Malik rushes forward and slashes Revan across the chest, sending him stumbling back. But as he falls, Anakin Skywalker charges into the room. The Force ripples as Anakin enters, his presence piercing through the overwhelming dark side energy. Revan stumbles back as Bastila hesitates.
Skywalker, you dare interfere?
Malik lunges at Anakin, who matches his attack, blocking each move with surprising calm, letting him batter against him. Revan stumbles over to Bastila, who roars and slashes at him. The dark energy flickers as she swings at him. He remains mostly defensive, blocking and parrying each attack to avoid hurting her. But Bastila holds no such concerns and stabs at him. Revan catches her arm and pushes it aside as he thrusts his hand out, trying to reach out with the Force.
Please, fight it.
I can't.
Yes, you can. The dark side feeds on your fear, but you've faced this before. Fight it. Fight him.
Bastila's gaze flickers, her breathing steadying. The amber glow in her eyes fades. With a deep breath, she deactivates her weapon. Malik roars in frustration as Anakin presses the attack, his strikes faster and stronger, but despite his speed, Malik remains as powerful as ever, dodging each attack before swatting Anakin aside. The room quakes as Malik unleashes his fury, hurling torrents of dark-side energy and waves of lightning. Anakin raises his lightsaber to absorb the lightning, his jaw clenched as the energy crackles around him, the power too strong as it courses through him. Revan and Bastila flank Malik, their blades striking in perfect tandem. The Sith Lord parries desperately as he's taken off guard by the sudden attack. Revan's blade cuts through Malik's defenses, searing his armor.
No, I am the dark side.
No, Malik. You're just a man, and you've already lost.
Revan, Bastila, and Anakin drive their sabers into the Star Forge's core, severing its power flow. Malik cries out as the dark energy around him dissipates. His body collapses to the ground, his eyes wide with disbelief, before he fades into stillness. The three quickly make their way out of the reactor as explosions ripple behind them. Lucky for them, Anakin has a ship waiting to take them out. As the darkness ends, Revan makes a surprising move: to renounce the Sith Empire and begin working to make peace with the Jedi. He offers to take Anakin as an apprentice, but the young Jedi refuses, saying he is needed somewhere else. No one knows where that is exactly, but Anakin returns back to his old timeline and finishes the original mission he was assigned, ending the reign of Palpatine. He continues this mission with fresh gusto. After seeing the corruption of the Force firsthand, Anakin is determined to prevent it. Once Palpatine shows signs of falling to the dark side, Anakin immediately reports it to the Jedi, who arrest him.
That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.